Welcome to Quiet Night Chronicles, where we explore the gentle mysteries of our world's forgotten places. Tonight, we'll journey through the remarkable megastructures left behind by civilizations that have vanished into history. These aren't tales of conquest or collapse, but rather peaceful meditations on human ingenuity, the quiet persistence of builders across centuries, and the enduring beauty of stone, earth, and water shaped by patient hands. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast moat, its surface reflecting the pre-dawn sky like polished obsidian. The water stretches before you, holding approximately 5.5 million cubic meters of carefully channeled liquid. This is Angkor Wat, where Khmer engineers once orchestrated one of history's most sophisticated water management systems. Picture the gentle splash of workers' tools as they moved an estimated 300,000 cubic meters of earth, basket by careful basket, creating this massive reservoir. The moat wasn't merely decorative. It was part of an intricate network that captured monsoon rains, distributed water through carefully graded channels, and sustained a city of perhaps 1 million souls. The water would have flowed with a soft, continuous murmur through stone channels carved with the precision of master craftsmen, feeding rice paddies that stretched toward the horizon like green mirrors under the Cambodian sun. Now let us drift across the Pacific to the high plains near Lake Titicaca, where another civilization left behind structures that whisper of extraordinary skill. At Tiwanaku, specifically at the complex known as Pumapunku, ancient builders achieved something that still puzzles modern engineers. Picture yourself running your fingers along stone blocks, where the gaps between them measure less than 1/50th of an inch. These weren't small decorative pieces, but massive blocks weighing many tons, cut and fitted with mathematical precision that would challenge contemporary stonemasons. The builders accomplished this remarkable feat without metal tools, using techniques that remain partially mysterious even today. Imagine the patient sound of stone against stone as these master craftsmen worked their blocks to such exacting standards. The andesite and sandstone they chose required different approaches, each demanding its own rhythm of work. The surfaces were so perfectly smooth that some blocks appear to have been molded rather than carved, their edges meeting in joints so tight that even today, a knife blade cannot slip between them. Turning our attention eastward across the Atlantic, we find ourselves in the heart of North America, where along the Mississippi River Valley, the people of Cahokia created earthworks of staggering scale. The centerpiece of their achievement was Monk's Mound, a structure that contains approximately 22 million cubic feet of earth. Picture the quiet procession of workers over decades and centuries, each carrying carefully selected soil in woven baskets, adding their small contribution to this monumental undertaking. The mound rose in carefully planned terraces, each level representing years of coordinated effort. The earth itself was chosen thoughtfully, different types of clay and soil layered to prevent erosion and provide stability. Imagine the soft thud of basket loads of earth being emptied, the gentle scraping of tools smoothing each surface, and the gradual transformation of the landscape as this artificial mountain grew layer by patient layer. The builders understood drainage, creating internal systems that would channel water away from the structure's core, ensuring that their work would endure through countless seasons of rain and snow. far to the southeast across the ocean in what is now Zimbabwe. Another group of builders was creating walls that would stand for 1,000 years without the binding power of mortar. Great Zimbabwe's stone walls were constructed using a dry stone technique that required intimate knowledge of how granite breaks and weathers. Picture the quarry workers selecting stones from natural outcrops, understanding which blocks would fit together like pieces of an enormous three-dimensional puzzle. Over 1 million granite blocks were fitted together, following the natural fracture patterns of the rock itself. The builders worked with granite's tendency to split along certain planes, creating courses of stone that seemed to grow organically from the bedrock itself. Imagine the careful tapping of stone hammers as workers tested each block's fit. The quiet conversations between master builders as they planned each section, and the satisfying click of stone settling into its perfect position. The walls curve gracefully around the hilltop, their height varying with the natural contours of the land, creating an effect that seems both monumental and entirely natural. Now let us journey to the rose-red city of Petra, carved directly into the sandstone cliffs of southern Jordan. Here, the Nabateans created perhaps the most sophisticated water collection system in the ancient world. Picture yourself walking through channels carved directly into living rock, where over 200 cisterns and collection points gathered precious rainfall from the arid landscape. The system could store approximately 40 million liters of water, enough to sustain a thriving city in one of the world's most challenging environments. Imagine the sound of water trickling through these carved channels, the echo of drops falling into deep cisterns hewn from solid stone. The builders understood the subtle art of gradient and flow, carving channels that would direct water without erosion, creating settling pools where sediment could collect harmlessly. Each cistern was positioned to capture runoff from specific cliff faces and hillsides, turning the entire landscape into a sophisticated water-gathering machine. The carving work required patience measured in generations, as craftsmen worked their way deeper into the sandstone, creating storage chambers that remain watertight even today. Across the Indian Ocean, on the island of Java, Buddhist builders created Borobudur, a temple that represents mathematical precision on a monumental scale. This structure contains exactly 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues, all carved from approximately 55,000 cubic meters of volcanic andesite stone. Picture the quarry workers selecting stones from the slopes of nearby volcanoes, understanding which particular type of andesite would weather well and carve cleanly. The temple rises in terraces that follow strict mathematical proportions, each level smaller than the one below in carefully calculated ratios. Imagine the quiet concentration of stone carvers working on thousands of relief panels, each one depicting scenes from Buddhist teachings with extraordinary detail and artistry. The builders had to transport these massive stones across rivers and through forests, a logistics operation that required careful planning and countless hours of coordinated effort. The andesite, formed by ancient volcanic activity, provided an ideal medium for both structural elements and detailed carving, its fine grain allowing for the intricate work that still captivates visitors today. As we consider these remarkable achievements, it's worth reflecting on the timelines involved in their creation. Angkor Wat likely required 30 years of construction and a workforce that may have included 300,000 people, including 100,000 priests, according to ancient inscriptions. Picture the daily life of such a massive construction project. The organization required to feed, house, and coordinate such numbers. The specialized roles from quarry workers to master sculptors. The careful scheduling of work that continued through monsoons and dry seasons alike. The builders worked within a social system that could sustain such enormous undertakings across generations, where knowledge passed from master to apprentice in an unbroken chain of expertise. These weren't rushed projects driven by royal impatience, but rather measured endeavors that understood architecture as a form of devotion, requiring the same patience and dedication as meditation or prayer. The transportation challenges these builders overcame speak to their ingenuity and determination. At Tiwanaku, massive stone blocks had to travel across Lake Titicaca, a journey of approximately 10 kilometers across one of the world's highest navigable lakes. Picture the builders constructing sophisticated rafts from local totora reeds, understanding how to bind these plants into platforms capable of supporting multi-ton stones. The crossing would have required perfect weather conditions and careful navigation, with teams of paddlers working in coordination to transport each precious block safely to shore. Imagine the gentle lapping of waves against the reed boats, the quiet concentration of the navigators, and the relief when each stone reached its destination intact. The rope systems they developed for lifting and moving these blocks required knowledge of leverage and physics that was passed down through generations of builders, each improvement carefully tested and refined. The precision of ancient stone-cutting techniques continues to inspire wonder and debate among modern researchers. The blocks at Pumapunku were shaped with such accuracy that they appear to have been produced by machine tools, yet they were created by craftsmen working with bronze, stone, and wooden implements. Picture the patient process of grinding and polishing, using sand and water as abrasives, working each surface until it achieved the mirror-smooth finish that still gleams in the Bolivian sunlight. The builders understood that stone has a grain like wood, and that working with these natural patterns rather than against them produced stronger, more beautiful results. Imagine the workshop areas where master craftsmen trained their apprentices, the quiet instruction in techniques that had been perfected over centuries, and the satisfaction of achieving cuts so precise that adjacent blocks would settle together with barely a whisper of movement. The earthworks at Cahokia represent a different kind of precision. The careful management of soil and drainage across a massive construction project that spanned centuries. The builders understood that different types of earth had different properties, using clay for waterproofing, sand for drainage, and carefully selected fill materials for stability. Picture the seasonal rhythms of construction, with work timed to take advantage of dry weather and favorable ground conditions. The builders created internal drainage systems within Monk's Mound, channels that would carry away rainwater and prevent the kind of settling that could cause catastrophic collapse. Imagine the testing and refinement of techniques as builders learned through experience which approaches would create lasting stability. Each lesson built into the growing structure for future generations to benefit from. The water management systems at these sites reveal a deep understanding of hydrology and climate patterns. At Angkor Wat, the builders created not just reservoirs, but entire watersheds that could capture and distribute seasonal rainfall across a vast urban area. Picture the network of channels, dams, and retention ponds.